Well, there was some good news this week, and when I say some, I mean a glimmer of hope in a dark time, but we'll take anything that we can at this point. The House of Representatives passed a bill that would deport any undocumented immigrant who gets a DUI. The bad news is that even if it does pass the Senate, which it may, old Joe would veto it, which would then require a 2/3 majority vote to overrule him. But that would force his hand to show the American people that he not only sides with the criminal invaders, not undocumented immigrants, the criminal invaders, but also then he allows them to be above the law once they're here. So they're allowed to just get DUIs and commit Social Security fraud as well. But Democrat Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal from Washington State had another problem with the bill.
And I hope my colleagues will stop referring to people as illegals. People are human beings. They have different statuses. Some are undocumented. If you want to say some are illegal, but let's not call human beings illegal. Tired of that language. I urge my colleagues to reject this bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Okay, Congresswoman, maybe we should stop calling them illegal immigrants and just refer to them as criminal invaders. MSNBC equates the term with the N-word, which causes a certain group of people to fly into a violent rage, and apologized on air after one of their guests dared to say it out loud.
For anybody who may have been offended by the term that was used by our guest of Steve Patterson, he talked about illegal aliens. Of course, that's not the vernacular we use. It's undocumented workers, right. So I want to reiterate that.
Imagine being offended because somebody called criminals criminals. Well, that is Nikki Haley's platform. But in order to try to avoid that uncomfortable situation, the state of New York is now just letting them out of jail, no matter what crimes they commit, including if they assault police officers, like these fine young future Democrat voters.
Just into Fox News now, NYPD making 2 more arrests, illegal immigrants, and that attack on officers. Those suspects also allegedly stole an officer's cell phone. Well, that'll help them track you down. So a 5th illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret. He was seen, as you can see, giving his 2 middle fingers to the cameras moments after being released without bail.
There are no words to describe just how dysfunctional of a country you have to be in order to allow such a thing to happen. And this story might be pushing Democrats over the edge because the Democrat governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, has said that they should actually be deported, which, I mean, of course, they should have been deported the moment they were apprehended as soon as they came into the country. But now we know that some Democrats draw the line at the illegal aliens assaulting police officers. But if you're an American citizen and a Democrat, the city of New York will pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars, as the city did when they awarded $13 million to a group of Black Lives Matter protesters who sued the city, claiming that during the Summer of Love, during the George Floyd insurrections, that the police were too mean to them. The situation has gotten so bad that the Democrat governor of Massachusetts broke down into tears because a popular recreation center in Boston had to be shut down to Americans, so none of the kids could go and hang out there after school or take swimming lessons, because now it's going to be a new housing center for the illegals. I'm sorry, for the criminal invaders.
Emotional, guys, okay? Because I'm committed to this. Little kids need to be able to breathe clean air. They need to be able to access swimming pools. They need to have lifeguards there who are going to teach them how to swim. And they need to have activities. I don't know what we're going to do for a couple, 3 months. I'll call universities. I'll call other places.
Well, that's what you get when you vote Democrat. You get Americans last. And now the Black community in Chicago is starting to realize this. And they're very upset about the criminal invaders who are coming into their cities, and they're claiming, well, just listen, I'll let him explain.
Are you aware that there are immigrant advocates at state houses all over this country? That's right. Who are advocating for non-citizen voting in local elections?
Yes, sir. We've been warning about that for many years now.
What if that happened here? That would change the mindset of what we as a Black community needs to thrive here in Chicago.
Notice how he put his race first? He doesn't care about what that means for Americans, for citizens. he's worried about what that means for black people. In other words, he's saying that the illegals are replacing them.
That's a concern of ours. This is much bigger than the mayor of Chicago or Chicago Police Department. This is an effort to destroy our neighborhoods and silence our voices even further.
Well, spoken like a true black nationalist there, Tyrone. Of course, if you're white, you're not allowed to make such comments about wanting to preserve your white communities or white small town. You would be called a white nationalist and a neo-Nazi. You would be fired from your job. You would be canceled from social media. And the ADL would probably sue you for discrimination as well. And black people in New York are also upset at the criminal invaders because they're getting many of the free handouts that they want.
A food fight in one neighborhood in Queens between NYCHA tenants and newly arrived migrants.
Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez shows us how tensions are growing with not enough food to go around.
Why do we have to take the butt of everything? Okay, this community here is already suffering.
The residents living in NYCHA's Queensbridge houses look forward to the mobile food pantries that show up weekly. But over the past year, they have witnessed 8,000 migrants move into their neighborhood, and they have also noticed the migrants are also starting to take their stuff.
They was first online for the turkeys this morning. If they tell you to be there at 11 o'clock, you get there like 10:30, 10:45, but they already out there. The line is from over there to over here.
Free food giveaways, especially during the holidays, have become a source of tension between longtime New Yorkers struggling to get by and newly arrived migrants who are using the system to survive.
But unfortunately, it's not just the big Democrat-run cities, the sanctuary cities, getting exactly what the governors asked for. It's also small little towns in Wisconsin, like Whitewater, which has also been invaded because they want to brown your small town.
Right now, police in Whitewater say they need help to deal with the city's immigration challenges.
The police chief sent a letter to President Joe Biden saying the city has seen an influx since early 2022. Whitewater's population was just over 14,000 in 2021. Chief Daniel Meyer said 800 to 1,000 immigrants arrived in the city since then. Meyer says the extra citizens have put a strain on city resources.
Which is an Orwellian way of saying that the crime has skyrocketed and they can't deport them once they arrest them. And so there's really nothing that the police chief can do. A city of under 15,000 people is almost verging on a small town and used to be an ideal place to live and raise your family in the Midwest. But now they're being invaded by not just 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 illegals, over 1,000.
Look, I want to take a step back for just a moment as we look at 24 and we're in 24, but just a step back, this president has done more in 3 years than any other president has done in 2 terms, and that is important.
He has done more in 3 years than any president has done in 2 terms of ruining the once great United States of America. Illegal immigration is going to likely be the biggest issue of the election, unless they release Disease X or World War III breaks out, God forbid. And as you can see, even many Democrats and those in the black community are tired of the criminal invaders. If you're tired of them, and I know you are, then I'm sure you'll enjoy my new Sorry No Vacancy Deport Them All shirt, which you should order from my online store at markdice.com. Yes, I did design it to look like a neon no vacancy sign that hangs outside of an old hotel. And if you like my videos and you want to support my work and get a great shirt, head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check it out.